Today, Bungie released the artifact perks for Season 22. I have a few builds in mind that has some crazy potential for the upcoming season, and I want to share it with you guys. First of all, let's take a look at a simplified version that I made of the Season 22 artifact perk sheet that Bungie provided. The main thing of this season is Elemental Orb. As some people might say, we are going to play some NBA while playing Destiny 2 now, because we'll be throwing some orbs. Just like Tango in Strength, but now can be created with Solar, Void, and Arc Weapon Final Blow. If you have already known the artifact perks and wanna go straight to the builds that I come up with, you can look at the timeline in my description and just go straight to that. So let's look at artifact perks. For dealing with champions, Anti-Barrier Auto Rifle is still with us in the next coming season, and Anti-Barrier Bow is also an option now. This is going to be very interesting. I bet the bow usage for dealing with anti-barrier champion will be skyrocketed compared to auto rifle very soon. But popular option like Quicksilver Storm and Centrifuge is going to dominate in this season with reasons that we'll explain later when we dive deeper in the artifact perks. However, some old favorite bow like Tico's Divination and good legendary bow such as Fel Tardido and Under Your Skin is going to be very good in this season as well. Scout Rifle Unstoppable is next. Polaris Lens, Skyburner's Oath, and Hungry are back. Then, Hand Cannon for Overload, and the only kinetic option we have in this season for Overload. But I bet not a whole lot of people will use it because we have Machine Gun that can deal with Overload as well in this season. There are literally not a whole lot of inspiration idea that comes to mind with this. The last one is my favorite, and Fusion Unstoppable. I think everyone still remembers that day when Fusion are the meta before Witch Cream drops, right? Especially for a very special fusion, Vex Mythoclast. It shoots like auto rifle, but has the ability to become a linear fusion rifle that deals insane damage, and I have a nasty build that will include this weapon. On the second column, we have 3 combo Cypher mods, which are Arc and Strength, Solar and Strength, and Void and Strength. So if you have some use for them, you have your choice. I don't know about perk improvements because I don't use it, and I don't think people will choose it, right? Unless I'm wrong with that, you can correct me in the comments. For the scavenger discount, this will prove very useful if you're running double special, especially after the nerf. But I don't think you will use it because we have another very good artifact perks that can make special or heavy ammo. The next column is where the main thing comes in. Strength, Arc, Solar, and Void Weapon Final Blow has a chance to create a tangle of its elemental type. Arc Elemental Orb will create Arc Explosion and jolts nearby targets. This will greatly improve the arc clearing efficiency for some of the existing arc weapons, like Forbearance and Aikilo's SMG. Void Elemental Orbs create Void Explosion and grant Volatile to nearby targets. Some of the weapons that immediately comes to my mind are Hush Grenade with MGL, Graviton Lance, and Thunderweb SMG. Solar Elemental Orb creates Solar Explosion and Scorch nearby targets. Tico's Divination, Polaris Lens, Explosive Personality with MGL are all very good options that comes to my mind. I will talk more about some good weapons that could work really well later in the video with some build that could work alongside them. In the fourth column, we have Overload Machine Gun that we've talked about earlier. The second one is very interesting. Deal bonus ability and elemental orb damage to stun champions. It will depend on how much bonus damage that we get from this perk, but I bet it should be higher than 20%. If it's lower than that, I don't think it will be worth using when we have some of the better option that comes shortly after it. The next one is going to be a really fun one. When ally picks up or destroy your elemental orb or tangle, the cooldown that you create your next elemental orb or tangle will reduce for 5 seconds, and increase weapon damage that matches your subclass for 10 seconds. For me, the most important part of this perk is the cooldown reduction to create the next elemental orb or tangle, not the bonus damage part, unless it's more than 20%. This one is going to create so many numbers that I don't think any as stand a chance with this, especially when you are playing raid and seasonal activity that's more than 4 people. Imagine all of you guys choose your subclass related elemental orb and this perk. Can you imagine what will happen? I'm looking forward to this perk and just imagine all the numbers flying all over your screen. The next one is for ability recharge, just a quality of life change, nothing too special about it. The next one is the big one. It ties with one of the perks in the final column and creates a very reliable and safe way to get armor charges without grabbing orbs. The only downside of this artifact perk is that it forces you to use sniper, bow, or scout rifle and requires precision hit to get armor charges. For seasonal activity, you normally will not run this type of weapons, but rather something like a SMG with MGL or machine gun that can clear S and do decent boss damage. So this one is mainly targeting solo legend or master lost sector or solo GM Nightfall, where you will use bow and scout rifle at long ranges to create armor charges for very reliable soldiers or simply lower cooldown for abilities. For the final column, the first one is, in my opinion, have the widest variety usage in the entire seasonal artifact perks. It grants both weapon damage and ability damage for 10% and lasts for 5 seconds when using a weapon that matches your subclass, and it activates by just simply dealing damage with your weapon or ability, nothing else. I have a super good build that uses this one to its highest potential, and I don't think Bungie is ready for this. The next one is also going to be a really good one. Precision hits at a long range weakens the target. This one also has a very variety range of usage that can utilize it. Whether you are running solo master or GM Nightfall or just for seasonal activity, this one can work exceptionally well. For the next one, subclass related buff will increase recovery and decrease the damage that you receive that deals the same type of element as your subclass related buff. For example, if you have Radiant, you will have increased recovery and you will receive lower solar damage. This one could work really well on Arc subclass while dealing with endgame PvE content that mainly deals arc damage, because it literally works the same as electric armor in this season, because Amplify is really easy to get. Solar is the second best one that can utilize this buff when dealing with enemy that deals massive solar damage. For example, Lowly Titan Ring of Fire Warlock is the easiest one to trigger this. I'm not even mentioning Ember of Empyrean that always extend your solar buff when you score a solar damage final blow. However, for Void, Dragon's Void Hunter is going to be amazing with this perk. Devour Warlock was nearly as good as Dragon Hunter, and Void Old Virtue Titan can also utilize this really well. However, for Stasis, there is only Renewal Grass Hunter that can utilize this. Later in the season, I have a dedicated video that talks about what's happening to Stasis after Strand releases. The next one is fine. Elemental Orb / Tango Final Blow has a chance to create special and heavy ammo. I think what it means is that the ammo type that it creates may be related to the tiers of enemy that it gets the final blows with. For example, Minor or Elite Final Blow will create special ammo, and Champion or Boss Kill will create heavy ammo. However, it should all be tested when the season starts, and you can count on other content creators to tell you more about it, because I will be busy playing some Genshin Impact. The last one is the most interesting one. Surge mod that works for Elemental Orbs by simply having armor charges. I think it should work like Font of Wisdom that grants escalated bonus damage to your Elemental Orb or Tango, depends on how many stacks of armor charges you have. The max stat for Font of Wisdom or other similar mods is 3 armor charges. So reliably getting 3 armor charges to maximize this perk's potential is going to be the key to create some stunning explosion damage. However, this is still not being tested, and I might be wrong here. I'm just giving my best guess, depends on the description that Bungie gave us. For a more accurate detail and information, you should visit Destiny Data Compendium. I think they will do a very detailed testing shortly after the season start. Link for that Google Sheet will be provided in the description of this video. After I walk you guys through all of the artifact perks, and I summarize my first impression of this, I can start giving you guys some build that you can make right now in the game, so that you can show off right at the start when Season 22 comes out a few days later. For every class, I will give you guys 3 builds that I think could work really well. Let's talk about Titan first. Your favorite strength build still stands. Quicksilver Storm plus any good ag-clearing energy weapon like Forbearance plus your desired heavy weapon and rocking Avian Leap exotic boots is still going to be the best crowd control subclass that no other class comes even close to this. Even after the suspend nerf, you should still be very good, but you just need to use them more carefully and at the right time. For Expert, Dranger Slash is a must. You can freely choose between Into the Fray and Fletcher Storm depending on what activity you are running. A Master or GM difficulty, go for Into the Fray for Wolfenmail. For a more casual activity, Fletcher Storm will be a fun choice. Fragments should be very standard as well. Thread of Mind, Thread of Generation, and Thread of Continuity is a must, with the last one that can be chosen freely depends on your playstyle. Personally, Thread of Propagation is not that bad if you're going to Fletcher Storm, because you will use your melee to kill ads. After that, your Quicksilver Storm will have unraveling rounds that can deal extra damage. However, Thread of Wisdom is also not a bad choice either, especially when it no longer requires a precision kill after Season 22 rolls out. Creating Loss of Orb will be good for survivability in endgame PvE content like Master or GM Nightfall. If you have recuperation on your leg mods, it will heal you. Not to mention the ability to reduce cooldown for all your ability when you equip Absolution on your leg mods and grant super energy. For other armor slots, you can take this build right here as an example to build upon it. The main goal of this build is to have nearly infinite suspend on all adds, with a decently low super cooldown when the opportunity calls upon it. I will highlight some of it. First, Dynamo on Helmet. As a strength titan with nearly infinite uptime on Warmind, you can be very aggressive with your playstyle and charge forward to place your barricade to suspend large group of people. While doing this, you will also get some super energy as well. On your arm, bolstering detonation, grenade kickstart can reduce your suspend grenade and barricade cooldown, and is the most important piece in your loadout. On your mark, distribution and utility kickstart is a must, further reduce your grenade and barricade cooldown. Other than that, you can change other mods depends on what activity you are playing. For the Expert, Into the Fray and Dranger Slash for Warmind and Suspend with Barricade. Fragment choices are Threat of Mind, Generation, Continuity, and Wisdom. As I've said before, you can change Into the Fray to Fracture Storm if you are playing activities that's lower than Master, and change Threat of Wisdom to Threat of Propagation. I know there is a new strength aspect coming in this season, but since we still don't know what it is, I will just use the old one first. For the artifact perk, choose these should give you an edge in any activity that you want to play. However, you can freely change them as you want. The one that I recommended works on basically all content. For the second build, Symbolize Hammer build with any sort of weapon that utilizes the final column perk that gives both ability and weapon damage. Your existing hammer will deal 10% more damage, and I think you can already imagine how good it will be when you are running Legend or Master Lock Sector. You can take this build that's shown on screen as an entry point to build upon it, but I will highlight some of the important ones for you. On your helmet, hands-on for super is a must, on arms, heavy-handed and impact detonation is a must, creating orbs of power for even faster super, and reducing grenade cooldown will always be beneficial in any content. On legs, Absolution and Recuperation shows up once again because it was really that good. For aspects and fragments, choose the standard hammer build will work the best, but you can always modify them to your needs for what kind of activity and playstyle you want. For artifact perks, choose these will work on almost all content, with monochromatic Maestro and Elemental Orb Solar being the ones that you can't miss. For weapon choice, choose a good solar weapon is really important. Remember, all your weapon can deal with anti-barrier because you will always have Radiance, so you can use your kinetic slot for the other type of champions that you can deal with. Get an auto-loading chill keep roll for Riptide can solve this immediately. For solar weapon on your energy slot, Callus Mini 2 SMG, Explosive Personality with Waveframe GL will be a very decent option. For heavy slot, Galley and Sinopage is not a bad choice either, especially for the 10% damage boost. For the final build, our old friend Heart of Immortal Light is making a comeback. This one can work on both Void and Arc subclass, even though Heart of Immortal Light has gotten a significant nerf before Lightfall release. It is still, by far, one of the best exotic to use to get back your abilities super quickly. And with the new last column artifact perk, Monochromatic Maestro that grants 10% bonus damage and ability damage, I don't think you have any reason to not use it. If you want to run an arc build, look at the build that's shown on screen now. Centrifuge is going to be very nasty here. You will start the engine by using your melee for final blow to get amplified. Your Centrifuge will blind nearby targets after getting a kill on its high charge states, and then you can start spamming your abilities while they are getting blinded. However, remember to get some kills with a Centrifuge to get Elemental Orbs, so that you can create an arc explosion and juice nearby targets while blinding them with your Centrifuge. For Expert, Touch of Thunder and Knockout is a must. For Fragment, Spark of Resistance, Ions and Shock being the most important one, with the last one that can be changed according to what activities you play. Personally, I love Spark of Amplitude because it creates additional orbs of power for lowering super cooldown and reduce ability cooldown if you have Absolution mode on your boost, which is what Heart of Immortal Light is all about, spamming abilities. However, Spark of Discharge or Spark of Force is also not a bad choice either. You can choose them according to your playstyle. For artifact perks, choose these will work really well on all content, with Elemental Orb Arc, Monochromatic Maestro being the most important one. Ooh. It takes nearly 1200 words for Titan and it's time for Hunter, my favorite subclass after Lightfall releases. The first build is all about Dragon's Outbreak. I don't think I need to explain how good it is, right? Seeing all the volatile explosion and those little numbers already makes me happy even when I'm writing the script for this video. You can take a look at the build that's shown on screen right now as an entry point to build upon it. And this is one of the most flexible builds that just works no matter what happens. Just select Finish Steps and Stylish Executioner for Expert, Echo of Cessation, Persistence, Obscurity, and Starvation for its fragment, and you are good to go. I don't recommend you change any of the fragment and expert because this build will work best with these exact fragments and expert combo. For weapon, since volatile rounds will have infinite uptime, so you don't need to worry about anti-barrier champions, just like Simple Steps build on Solar Titan. And getting a True Keep Riptide fusion rifle can take care of Unstoppable and Overlord as well. So, for Void Energy weapon, Red Phantom Lance has shown its dominance and is still going to be very good after Season 22 rolls out. If you have Collective Obligation, it's going to work even better than that. Some legendary options like Hush Grenade GL and Thunder Web SMG will also be very good. For heavy slot, Commemoration with Reconstruction and Killing Tally perks will work the best. If you like charging forward, the other half slot can also be very good if you are running activities that's lower than Master. For armor mods, Dynamo on your helmet is really good for getting your super back even faster, bolstering detonation on arms for lower rank cooldown for your class ability to infest even more, and one Void Surge mod on your legs is really important because you will be shooting your void weapon non-stop, so getting at least one Surge mod on your leg will improve your damage. But I personally love running 2 surges for even more damage, and 1 Absolution is still really good for lowering your ability cooldown. On your clock, distribution and time dilation is a must, because you really want to lower your class ability cooldown as much as possible. And 1 time dilation can increase your armor charges last for another 5 seconds when running surges. And it ties really well with the artifact perks that I chose that you see on the screen right now. Monochromatic Mestral, Frenzied Stacks, and Elemental Orb Void are the most important ones that you can't miss. Since we chose Echo of Starvation as one of our fragments, our grenade cooldown will be very fast, which means Monochromatic Mestral can have a very decent uptime as well. Frenzied Stack ties with our Surges and Time Dilation mod, which can increase Elemental Orb damage on top of our already increased ability damage from Monochromatic Mestral, Surges for weapon, and Frenzied Stack for Elemental Orbs. It is going to be crazy, and I will try to run this build when the season comes out. The second build is another Infinite Suspend build, with Strength Hunter Expert that has 2 grenade charges, and Exotic Armor 6 Coyote that grants another class ability usage. You can continuously suspend a single champion for nearly 16 seconds, which is going to be the highest single burst suspend duration that no other class can do after Season 22 comes out with the suspend nerf. However, this build is more towards endgame PvE content for solo player, or 3-man master GM Nightfall. Take a look at the build on the screen right now. We will be using Wish Ender because it will be an essential part when we start picking our artifact perks. Wish Ender is such a strong weapon after its buff. Not only it can one-shot red bar enemies in GM and stuns anti-barrier, but more importantly, it's the ability to quickly get your super back that no other weapon can do. For energy and heavy slots, use whatever you like that's great for egg clearing. For Barons, Hush Grenade Weapon GL, Commemoration Machine Gun, and Rockets for burst damage are all valuable as long as you can stun the champions that's going to appear in the activities that you are playing with. For Expert, Widow's Walk and Enslaying Slam is a must. For Fragments, Thread of Generation, Mind, Wisdom, and Continuity are what you will be choosing from to maximize the ability to suspend and get your super and ability energy back as fast as possible. For armor, Dynamo is a must on your helmet. Bolstering detonation and grenade kickstart are also important. Absolution Innovation is required with Insulation that can also be used on your boots, which reduce grenade and class ability cooldown even further. On Cloak, Utility Kickstart and Distribution are really important. You can also slot powerful attraction in if you want to safely get orbs at a relatively close distance. For artifact perks, these are the ones that I recommend. The most important one is Rapid Fire Ranger. Since you will be shooting enemies at a very long range with your Wish Ender, Weekend's Target is a very viable option that can deal with champions, tanky elites, and bosses. Other than that, the other important one is Semi-Auto Striker, which can generate armor charges when we have less than 2 armor charges while using Wish Ender for precision hit, so that our grenade and class ability has lower cooldown. Other than that, the other ones that can be chosen according to the activities that you play. The third build is for one-shotting champion in endgame PvE content, like Solo Legend, Master Lost Sector, or Master GM Nightfall. It uses Arthea's Embrace on Solar Hunter. First of all, in order to get the full bonus damage that the Arthea's Embrace gives to our weighted knife, you first need to get a few precision hits with your weapon for that. And by doing this with a solar weapon, you inherently increase your Wither Knife damage by another 10% with Monochromatic Maestro artifact perks on top of an already super high damage that comes with Wither Knife itself. So take a look at the screen right now for my build. For weapon, Conditional Finality on Kinetic is going to be very amazing, because when enemy is under freeze, you will deal 15% more damage, and Conditional Finality is the easiest way to freeze any target, so you can already have a very basic idea on how broken this might be when you add another 10% on top of that. On energy weapon slot, Callous Mini Tool is the only one that I would recommend because you can very easily get precision hits with that. Heavy slot depends on what you prefer according to the activity that you are playing with. For Expert, Knock Them Down is the only one that's mandatory. You can freely choose between On Your Mark and Gunpowder Gamble depends on your playstyle. Personally, I love the reload comes from On Your Mark, but Gunpowder Gamble is super fun when you are playing casual content like Seasonal Activity or Legend Nightfall. For Fragments, Ember of Touches, Mercy, Empyrean, and Solace are the ones that you will choose. You really want that Restoration ×1 to be active all the time with your one-hit kill knife and your solar weapon of choice. You might be wondering about the healing grenade now. That's because this build really centers around getting killed with your knife, and you will always go to the front line for that. So having healing grenade to heal yourself at crucial moment is good to not instantly die. It also helps you get another chance at training your Restoration ×1 duration. For armor mods, Heavy Handed on your armor to get your super back very quickly, Heavy Handed and Impact Detonation for getting ops and reduce your grenade cooldown, Absolution and Innovation for reducing your ability cooldown even further, and Distribution with Powerful Attraction on your cloak for grabbing mods and reduce ability cooldown. Okay, that's a very long one. It's time to talk about Warlock now. The first build that comes immediately to my mind is Fast Mythic class plus Variety Brow Exotic Helmet. I know Variety Brow doesn't get a lot of usage, but it's actually super good on all content. Whenever you get a kill with your Fast Mythic class, you will get a buff called Death Thrones, and you can kill 5s for ×5 stack. With every single stack, you get 50% increased grenade-based recharge rate and 20% more grenade damage. With 5 stacks, you can get 250% increased grenade-based recharge rate and 100% more grenade damage. Pair it with the Monochromatic Maestro that gives an extra 10% ability and weapon damage. Your Fast Mythic class and your grenade will turn all ads into ashes, and champions will not stand a chance with it. Have I even mentioned that using a grenade when you have Death Thrones buff and you have some allies that's closer to you, they will also get a buff called Field of Flames that can boost their grenade recharge rate by 100% for 5 seconds. This build is not going to make all ads disappear. I bet they will make GM bosses health bar vanishes like normal strike boss does. Take a look at this build that's on screen right now. For grenade, Fusion Grenade is going to be the best one because Touch of Flame aspect can make it explode twice, which makes Death Thrones 100% increased damage feels more like 200%. For the aspect, other than Touch of Flame, you can freely choose Hit Risers or Icarus Dash. I personally love Hit Risers more because you can ADS while in air without falling, but Icarus Dash is good for movement. For fragments, you can freely choose what you want. In this build, I want to go for maximum grenade effect, so I choose Ember of Ashes and Ember of Char to make my grenade have a higher chance to make ass explode. Also, when you have Hit Risers active and use Incinerator Snap with Phoenix Dive, not only will you grant your Restoration ×2 and a Cure effect, you will always explode all red bar enemies. With Ember of Char, if ass didn't die from those explosions, you will be scorched, and you can make them explode by using your Fusion Grenade. And when they exploded and some of the ass that's closer to it did not die, you can Incinerator Snap plus Phoenix Dive again to make it explode, and you can just chain it over and over again. The other two are Ember of Searing and Mercy. Ember of Searing can create Fire Sprite and generate melee energy after killing a scorched enemy, and you can pick that Fire Sprite up for restoration when you pair it with Ember of Mercy. For weapons, Fast Mythic class on your energy is the most important one. Other than that, you can freely choose whatever you want as long as you can deal with champions. For armor, Ashes to Access is definitely a must because we will be using grenade to kill lots of ads. However, Dynamo is not a bad choice either when you want to create those beautiful explosions. So why not get some super energy back while doing this, right? For arms, Grenade Kickstart and Firepower is a must. You can choose Bolstering Detonation if you are running Phoenix Dive. For legs, Absolution and Innovation for reducing grenade cooldown even further. For Bomb, Utility Kickstart and Powerful Attraction if you are running Phoenix Dive, while Distribution and Bomber if you are just running Healing Rift like this build that I'm showing. For artifact perks, choose these with Monochromatic Maestro, Rapid Fire Ranger, and Elemental Orb Solar being the most important ones. Also, don't forget Unstoppable Fusion. The second build is one of my most favorite builds in Season 21, which is centered around Fallen Sunstar Exotic Helmet. I think you guys have already seen how powerful it is in this season, with all the artifact perks that makes it out of this world. However, it doesn't mean this build is not going to work when it's not in this season. In my opinion, it might work even better in Season 22. Thanks to monochromatic martial artifact perk and paired it with Cold Hard exotic trace rifle, you will get nearly 100% uptime for that 10% boosted weapon and ability damage because you will be spamming your abilities non-stop while shooting Cold Hard to not only refreshes that damage buff but generating ionic traces that will help you get your abilities back, which can boost your Cold Hard damage when you manage to use an ability. So take a look at the build that I'm showing right now on the screen. For Expert, Electrostic Mine is the most important one, and you can freely choose Arc Soul and Lightning Surge according to the activities that you want to play in. Personally, I use Arc Soul for any activities that's master difficulty or higher, while Lightning Surge can be really fun for seasonal activities. For Fragments, Spark of Resistance, Shock, and Ions are the important one, while the last slot can be freely chosen depending on your playstyle and what activities that you'll be playing in. Generally, I will choose Spark of Amplitude because I will always be amplified, and generating more orbs means more my super and ability cooldown can be lowered even further. However, since I choose cooldown as the main weapon for this build, Spark of Discharge is not a bad option either. And Spark of Beacons can be very good as well. For weapons, you will mostly use Cold Hard for majority of the time, so as long as you can deal with champions, you can choose whatever you want. For armor mods, Ashes to Access is the most important one. If you are running Lightning Surge, you can choose hands-on as well on your helmet. For arms, Grenade Kickstart, Firepower, and Bolstering Detonation if you are running my build with Arc Soul. If you choose Lightning Surge Expert, then Grenade and Melee Kickstart with Firepower will be my pick. On legs, Absolution, Innovation, and Elemental Charges if you are running the same build as I am with Arc Soul, and Absolution, Elemental Charge with Recuperation if you are running with Lightning Surge. On your Bond, Utility Kickstart, Distribution, and Bomber if you are running Arc Soul, and Distribution, Powerful Attraction, and Bomber if you are going for Lightning Surge Expert. For Artifact Perk, choose these that you see on the screen right now, with Monochromatic Martial, Elemental Munition, and Elemental Orb are being the most important one. Since getting enough ammo to shoot Cold Hard is really important, Elemental Munition is a very viable option if you can score some kills with Elemental Orb. For the third build, the iconic Controverse Hold Exotic Arms is still one of the best void builds out there for Warlock. Do you guys still remember the day where we cheat through the final boss at Arms Dealer in GM by throwing charged Vortex Grenade at his feet? But other than that, the infinite uptime of Vortex Grenade in the past is really important when we need to deal with literally no ammo while playing solo GM Glassway when Beyond Life first came out. However, with us being stronger in the last few years, and Season 22 gives us a few powerful artifact perks that can take advantage of this exotic arms, I think it's time to bring it out one more time. For aspects, choose Chaos Accelerant and Feed the Void. You can't even choose anything other than that if you want to maximize your ability to throw infinite grenade. For fragments, Echo of Explosion, Undermining, and Remnants being the most important one. You might be wondering why we need Remnants. That's because those extra 1.25 seconds can trigger another Controverse Hold Exotic Armor Arms effect to generate more grenade energy. With Undermining and Explosion to maximize your grenade's ability to clear as and weaken targets. The last fragment slot can be freely chosen according to what you play. Personally, I choose Echo of Instability because for most of the time, your grenade can score a red bar enemy kills, which will make your void weapons gain volatile runs to clear as even more efficiently and potentially deal with anti-barrier at some emergency moments when you don't have any ways to deal with it. For weapon, if you choose Echo of Instability as one of your aspects, choose a Void Energy or Heavy Weapon. If you have Collective Obligation, that will be a very good one to pair this build with. If not, choose whatever weapon that you want to use. For armor mods, Ashes to Asset is the most important one on your helmet with Grenade Kickstart and Firepower on arms, Absolution and Innovation on boots, Distribution and Bomber on bomb. For artifact perks, you can choose these. As I'm using Echo of Instability as fragments, Monochromatic Martial becomes a very viable option because my void weapon and grenades has a very high uptime on that. Elemental Munition is a very good neutral option, but you can also choose Rapid Fire Ranger as well. Other than that, just choose Elemental Orb Void and you can choose other ones freely. Whoosh! This is such a long video that I don't think I'm ready to make. I still have so many good builds in my mind that could work really well. but the script for this video is nearly 6,000 words long, and I still need to prepare some footage for this video. So I'm going to take a break and wait for other big content creators to work on the rest. Also, since this is my first build tutorial, I still have so many things to learn. So if you have any suggestion, please be sure to comment down below and let me know. If you have better build, please tell me all about it in the comment as well. I know the build that I come up with are not perfect, but I hope this build can give you guys a foundation to build something better than this. And remember, Season 22 still hasn't come out yet, so many detail in this build still heavily depends on how good Elemental Orb is. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'm going to keep playing Genshin Impact for now. I'm so tired. Bye bye!